Some say that the Buddha does not engage in thinking, that no thoughts or mental movements arise in him. This view is not entirely correct. The Buddha does have thoughts and mental movements. The Lotus Sutra, for instance, speaks of him reflecting upon Buddhas of the past. He was indeed thinking. How, then, can one say the Buddha has no thoughts? If there were no thoughts or mental movements, wouldn't he be like a block of wood? If becoming a Buddha meant turning into a piece of wood, what would be the point of attaining Buddhahood? One must understand that while the Buddha does have thoughts and mental movements, he differs from ordinary sentient beings. When sentient beings have thoughts, they truly believe those thoughts and that mind to be real. The Buddha, however, knows that such thoughts are ultimately ungraspable. Because he knows their nature is inherently empty, he does not cling to them as real. He has severed the imaginary nature of attachment. Yet, the arising of thoughts belongs to the nature of dependent origination. It is a phenomenon arising from conditions. If the conditions are present, thoughts arise. For example, seeing that sentient beings need to be saved, the Buddha might think about how to liberate them. What is wrong with that? There is nothing wrong with it. It is the law of dependent origination. Within this nature of dependent origination, the Buddha is able to perceive the nature of perfect reality. He realizes that the essence of all phenomena is unborn and undying. Thus, he is free from the imaginary attachment that mistakes these phenomena for inherently real, independent entities. We must understand that in Buddhist practice, the goal is not to eliminate our thoughts entirely, but to sever our imaginary attachments to them. Do not mistake the two. If you try to suppress your thoughts from the very start, you might eventually succeed in suppressing them, and yes, you might attain the meditation of non-thinking. You would be left without ideas, devoid of thought like wood or stone. This is known as the meditation of non-Buddhist paths. If you master this, you might be reborn in the heaven of non-thinking belonging to those external paths, remaining there like a log, without perception, without thoughts or mental movements, until your meditative power fades and you return to the cycle of reincarnation. There is no real meaning in such a practice. The Buddha criticized this approach, declaring that one should not practice in this way. Therefore, as practitioners who recite the Buddha's name, we need not fear deluded thoughts. When thoughts and mental movements arise, we should simply be aware of them and observe them, rather than trying to forcibly suppress them. If you try to forcefully suppress a thought by reciting the Buddha's name, you might hold it down temporarily. However, this is a clumsy approach that cannot be sustained in the long run. Whether you are reciting the Buddha's name or cultivating meditative concentration, how should you go about it? You must employ wisdom and observation. None of these practices can be separated from prajna, transcendental wisdom, and its insight. That is why prajna is known as the mother of Buddhas. All Dharma practices must be permeated and unified by prajna. Prajna involves contemplating the emptiness of phenomena, including the thought itself. You may think a thought has arisen, but in reality, it is merely ignorance and delusion. Fundamentally, no thought has actually arisen. If you do not believe this, ask yourself. 1. Before the thought arises, where is it hidden? If it truly existed, it would have to be hidden somewhere. 2. When the thought is about to arise, where does it come from? If it were real, it would certainly have a source. Since it has no source, it simply does not exist. 3. While the thought is actually arising, where does it abide? Reflect on this, investigate it deeply. This is what is known as Chan inquiry. 4. After the thought arises and ceases, where does it go? Through such earnest investigation, you will eventually reach the conclusion described in the Mo Hiji Guan. No place of concealment before arising, no place of origin when about to arise, no place of abiding while arising, and no place of destination after arising. From beginning to end, the thought never truly arose. It has no place of concealment, origin, abiding, or destination. Fundamentally, there is neither coming nor going, neither arising nor ceasing. Why, then, do you feel that you have thoughts? This is ignorance. This is what is called imaginary attachment. You believe it exists, that is the attachment of false imagination, yet in reality, it does not exist. It is like a diseased eye seeing flowers in the void. You see flowers in the empty sky, but in reality, it is merely a visual defect. There are no flowers in the void. You might insist, but I clearly saw them. Yes, to you, the sight was clear, yet the objects did not exist. Even though you clearly saw them, they were not there. You feel you clearly have this thought, but in reality, it does not exist. It is merely the product of your ignorance and delusion. This is the true nature of reality. Although we have not yet realized the state of non-arising, we can begin with faith and understanding. You must first trust the Buddha's words. He would not deceive you. The Buddha teaches that all phenomena are unborn, including your own thoughts. And since he does not lie, you must first accept this on faith. Then, you proceed through the stages of understanding, practice, and realization. As the saying goes, faith is the source of the path and the mother of all virtues. Without faith, the entire progression of faith, understanding, practice, and realization collapses. After establishing faith, you must seek understanding. Why is it said that phenomena are unborn? This can be achieved through deep contemplative inquiry or through the study of doctrinal teachings. Generally speaking, those who engage in deep inquiry are known as Dharma followers. They arrive at conclusions by pondering and contemplating the matter themselves. Those who study the scriptures and teachings are known as faith followers. They believe that what the Buddha said is entirely correct and harbor not the slightest doubt about him. Though they do not necessarily engage in the strenuous effort of deep contemplative inquiry themselves. Whether you are a faith follower or a Dharma follower, provided you apply yourself diligently, whether through practicing calm abiding and insight based on the teachings, or through the practice of Chan inquiry, you will ultimately reach the same conclusion, realizing that all phenomena are unborn, and that your own thoughts are unborn as well. Attaining enlightenment through this truth of non-arising constitutes the manifestation of prajna, transcendent wisdom. Thus, the Buddha guides sentient beings gradually toward the realization of ultimate reality. This state, the forbearance of the non-arising of phenomena, can only be realized by Mahayana bodhisattvas. It requires deep familiarity with and cultivation of Mahayana teachings, a state that practitioners of the lesser vehicle, Hinayana, do not attain.